Welcome to the National Guild of Hypnotists Continuing Education for June. Tonight, the NGH presents our roundtable discussion, Meet the Presenters, Let's Talk Convention. Please welcome our presenters tonight and your host, NGH Chief Executive Director, Jereme Bachand.
Well, hello! Welcome everybody to the June Continuing Education webinar series. And tonight we will be going over a small little sampling of our presenters from the 2026 NGH Convention. Let's talk about convention. Tonight we are joined by NGH Vice President Don Mottin.
Thank you.
Safe and Ethical Practice Officer Scot Giles. Sandra Grace. John Barboza. Claudia Rickard. Kapil Apshankar. And Heather McFall. And let's get things started off with our Vice President, Mr. Don Mottin. Don, what will you be teaching at the NGH Convention?
I have two classes I'll do during the convention and then a 5-day pre-conference. One of them I'm doing is on pain control. I think that's one of the areas that sometimes we might overlook, but you're never going to have a client more motivated with, I got to get rid of this pain, opposed to, I don't know if I want to quit smoking. I don't know this, that, and the other. And we've put a bunch of techniques together, but I'll just share a real simple one. It's called transferring the numbness. So if we have our clients got terrible pain in the left shoulder, if you tried to create numbness in the left shoulder, 10-15%. So we'd create numbness in part of the body that wasn't affected, the hand. Now move that hand to your knee, move that here, and eventually move it to the affected area. And that seems to be real good. And the other one, I love doing regression. If they were injured at age 30 and we took them back to age 20, they didn't have pain back then. And it doesn't remove it all the time, but it definitely makes it easier for them to take control. My other class during the convention is on pediatric hypnosis. One of my favorite things to do of all time. I trained someone a year or two ago on pediatric, and he said, I learned something. What's that? I don't like kids. Well, that's probably not the best thing for you to specialize in. And I like it because kids are so honest. In other words, there's no filter there. I had a young boy during a session. I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Saturday? I said, no, Saturday. I said, why do you want to be Saturday? My mom says she loves Saturday. And I thought, okay, I'll mark that. That's a good one. And 2 weeks later, another one. I said, tell me what you want to be. Paul. Okay, I'll bite. Why do you want to be Paul? Because I heard my dad say, rob Peter and pay Paul. That, okay, kind of letting us know they're hearing a lot more than we may have thought so. And I have 5 days prior to that teaching the Train the Trainer program. This gives a chance for our members to possibly go to the next level and become a certified instructor. I'm always excited because we have people who are already experienced in hypnosis, and we're letting them to move to the next level. So often people, oh, I did this, that, and the other. I started business at 26. I know I don't look older than 28, and mine was out of self-defense. I thought I was going to go into business, work 3 days a week, 6 hours a day, and go fishing. And word of mouth started spreading. I opened a second, third, in 3 years. I had 8 offices in 3 states, had 14 hypnotists working for me full time. And somebody said, what do you contribute the success to? I was slow. I went to a conference, a bad one, and I didn't realize everyone wasn't doing 10 sessions a day. So I think if you would have told me early, oh, okay, I can only do 3. So I like it because we have 5 days and you're watching the person grow from here to here to here. And it's kind of exciting to see how that all goes.
Excellent. And, working with kids is so much fun. I have my Puppa Doc doll that Don sent me that works perfect working with kids. So thank you, Don.
You're quite welcome. Take care of him.
Absolutely. And up next, we have our Safe and Ethical Practice Officer, Scot Giles. Scott, you have some courses coming at the NGH Convention. Talk about it.
I do indeed. I'm going to be doing 2. One just by myself, the other with a colleague. The one I'm doing by myself will be to keep yourself and your practice safe. Now, for the last multitude of conventions, I've taught a workshop on where hypnotists stand with legislation. We go around the country, what all the laws are, the history of our political efforts to keep hypnotism safe and legal. But now with the PAR system that we've installed, and which is working really well to advocate for professional hypnotism and to keep people safe, helping prevent them from crossing a line that could get them into trouble. We don't need to do this at the convention anymore. I mean, every member is receiving our advocacy newsletter every September, and that newsletter says, for your state of practice, here's the laws, here are the links where you can read it online, here's the history of legislation. So everyone's already getting that on an individual basis. We don't need to do it also at the convention. So what we're going to do with this program is something a little different. We'll talk about the PAR system so newbies understand what it is and how to look at it and how to get the materials. But how do you keep your practice safe in the world, the situation we have? As Jay knows, I'm also the chairman of the ethics committee of the Guild. Half of all the complaints the ethics committee receives are from ex-wives and ex-girlfriends. These are people who are actually using the process to kind of ventilate a personal grievance. There's no substance to the charge. It's often just totally fabricated. But how do you protect yourself from mischief-making complaints? Interestingly, we've never had a guy do this to an ex-wife or an ex-girlfriend, but we've had lots of ex-girlfriends and ex-wives try to do it to the guy. But also we've had business competitors who will try to come up with a bogus accusation so they can say, so-and-so is under investigation. So how do you keep yourself safe from someone who's trying to create mischief for you? What kind of records do you have to have as a consulting hypnotist? And will those records stand up in court? Now, if you do medical work like I do, you got to be concerned about that, because in the medical world, people sue at the drop of a hat. But even apart from that, people get divorced, and someone you'll get subpoenaed by an attorney who wants you to testify against your client or to try to get access to your records to look for things they can use. What kind of records do you have to have that will stand up in court versus those that will not stand up in court? That sort of thing. Risky behaviors. In certain states, it's perfectly fine to touch your client, especially during an anchoring process or whatever. In other states, that'll get you arrested for assault. You got to know what the laws are and be careful about behaviors that you're doing. Like in all of our consultation rooms here, I'm in Illinois, we have a camera. We record everything. We don't record audio. That stays confidential. But if I ever get a complaint, I can show where my hands are. I can keep myself safe that way. And how do you do that without spending thousands of dollars on some sort of video system? So we're going to cover all of that. Confidentiality. What do you do when you get a parent calling you, wanting you to disclose what their child had said to you in a session? Duty to warn. If a client tells you they're going to hurt someone else, what do you have to do legally? So those are the sorts of things I'll be packing into that workshop. It should be a lot of fun. I've got it about a third done at this point, and I'm really quite happy with how it's shaping up, because it's new material that I've never presented before, but it's also things that you got to know, or you could find yourself in a world of hurt, even with the best intention in the world. The other workshop I'm going to do is with Christian Scoresmith, who's another very successful clergy person, who's also a hypnotist. We're going to talk about designing your practice for success. And this, I think, will be really helpful for newbies. a lot of people open their offices up and they haven't thought through what their business process is going to be like. You know, how do you conduct your initial assessments? What kind of forms do you have to have? See, everything is a suggestion. From the moment your client hears about you or walks into your office, that environment is suggesting things about you to the client. You want to be in control of that process. You don't want your environment to be suggesting things that are not what you want your client to know. So we're going to be doing how to be a master of the metaverbal, nonverbal suggestion around client recruitment, retention, and how to impress your clients so they stay with you. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be a great convention.
Awesome. That sounds great. You know, everybody's got to know the safe and ethical practice, you know, from wording on your advertising and your website, how to practice safely, and Scott knows exactly. So check that presentation out or the recording on the virtual replay. Definitely. Thank you, Scott. Up next, we have Sandra Grace. Sandra, you will be teaching some courses at the NGH Convention, pre-course, and some workshops and seminars. Tell us more about it.
Well, I'm excited about Thursday is often one of my favorite days of the convention because it's where I get to give the most and receive the most hugs, right? It's where we get to reconnect with all our solopreneurs out there in the world, and we get to, reconnect in that fun way of coming together. This Thursday is particularly exciting for me because I get to do a pre-conference this year where I'm teaching the thing that I'm most passionate about in the last year or so, which is really supporting people in growing their practices. So I mostly work as a business coach these days, supporting and training coaches. And so hypnosis is the primary technique that we use. And so talking about selling transformations versus sessions. So many practitioners, they're really great at what they do, and they're just like have all this skill, and yet they maybe haven't really had a business coach or had a lot of support in their business. And so I really love helping people grow their business. I know I've told this story before, but years ago when I found out like 85% of hypnotists were part-timers, I was like, is that by choice? Because why wouldn't you want to do this all day, every day, right? And so I became very passionate about seeing what I could do to help our community if they chose to have a full flourishing practice. What would that look like? And I feel like this class is one of those things that takes a newbie that like just is getting certified, and they can use this as an opportunity to really consider how are they going to launch and share their gifts with people, but also oftentimes it's the people that have been in the practice the longest that could really use a refresh. And so if you have a new target market, but also if you just like to share in a new way. So I'm really excited about this particular opportunity for me to share. I've been doing sales training for years. I did training for Victoria's Secret and several other companies years ago before I got into this field. And I love looking at the idea of how do you support people, but you'll leave with a way of looking at how to share your gifts and abilities. So that's Thursday all day. And then of course we get to have our, chance to get together and instructor meeting and some exciting announcements and stuff with that. Friday, I get to teach why become a CI. And again, this is maybe a little different approach than how other people have looked at it. Of course, I love the idea of having well-trained hypnotists out there in the field, but my background was in education. And so, in addition to still running an online school where I teach and train coaches, hypnotists, and energy workers, I really love this idea that we have the idea of what would be the intention of someone to become an instructor. And over the years, I found so many of my clients that are probably never going to hang a shingle out that gained so much by learning the National Guild curriculum. And they use it as business owners to really become better entrepreneurs, better leaders. And some of them teach in their own way, right? So they use it to improve language at their firm or things like this. And so I just really think that becoming a CI can be more to it than what you think. And then, of course, I get a 2-hour workshop on Saturday, which I love the 2-hour workshop because we get to really just, get it done. And so the title is like Up Until Now, The Power of the Present. So what we get to do is we get to look at like, who have you been up until now as an individual, as a practitioner, as an instructor, as a therapist, and who do you get to be in the future. And so just really some great interpersonal, intrapersonal work with yourself, and then also taking that back to your clients. So I teach a technique that you can then borrow and take back and use with your clients in your sessions. So super excited about that. Yeah, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like those courses are kind of pretty much open to beginners all the way to people who have been in the profession. So that's great.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you, Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
All right, up next, we have John Barboza. John, you'll be teaching at the NGH Convention. Let's talk about what you could be presenting this year.
All right, great. So Chris Adshade and I will be giving a 2-hour workshop titled A Variety of Hypnosis Inductions. So Chris is an experienced hypnotist who also loves doing speed inductions. And together we bring a range of hands-on client experience to the room. And this workshop is designed for hypnotists who want to expand their toolkit with a variety of induction styles, from progressive relaxation to rapid and instant techniques. So whether you're newer to the field or looking to sharpen your skills, there's something in this for everyone. And this workshop itself is structured around 3 core elements: storytelling and discussion drawn from our own experiences, live demonstrations where we break down exactly what we're doing and why, and hands-on practice time where the attendees get to try the techniques on each other in a supportive environment. And by the end of the 2 hours, you'll walk away with at least 2 or 3 inductions that you can start using with your clients right away. And if you're interested in learning and becoming, if you're interested in learning and using and sharing the information, you'll be able to, we have these 2 books that will be available, and you can get them at the NGH bookstore. Also, if you, so I want you to plan on coming to our workshop, and it'll be 2 to 4 p.m. on Friday.
Excellent. It's having multiple inductions and techniques and methods is really core to have, because not every session is a cookie cutter session. You have to adapt to your client and work with what best works for them. So having a multiple selection in your toolbox is really cool to have. Thank you, John. Looking forward to it.
Thanks.
And up next, we have Claudia Rickard.
Hello,
Claudia.
Thank you so much for having me on here. I appreciate it. So yes, I am excited. I get a 2-hour workshop, and I'm speaking on we are not our behaviors, we are our good intention. And from that, I will be starting with my emotional intelligence, my version of it. I was trained by Beryl Comer, by the way. She was the one who told me to join the NGH because I needed Scot Giles to help me. So, and he did. Okay, so I love the NGH. Now, the workshop, it is transformational, because I will be doing it with everybody. I'm going to be explaining the bunny talk process within it, the history of it. It's interactive, and yes, people will get their own experience of the bunny talk process. I will probably be doing a demonstration on somebody as well to show the full process. It is for children. It is for teenagers. It is for the parents of the children. That is the emotional intelligence bit. And it is for our inner child, because we are all children. And in my opinion, it is really important to get back to the root of the issue. And that is what I will be explaining as well within one of the diagrams that I'll be sharing with everybody. And then there's more. I also get to speak on navigating dementia with dignity. And again, that is very close to my heart. There is a story behind that as well. And I believe it is really important, again, that we can help people living with dementia. and we bring back their personhood, because it is all about the person. And same with any kind of illness or anything that people can go through. We are people first. And that is what I shall be sharing. Again, both are emotional. That's okay, because there's also a lot of laughs. And I'm very excited to be coming to the conference this year, and I look forward to meeting everybody. Thank you.
That's great, Claudia. We love Barrow.
Of course.
Now, the bunny talk process, that's something that you developed, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome.
And it was Cheryl Ellman she was the one who coined the name for the bunny talk process, because I was doing sleep talk with her and I was telling her what I'd done with my daughter, and she said, oh, you have to do something with that. And so I did.
That is awesome. So we're all looking forward to that. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
And up next, we have Mr. Kapil Apshankar. Kapil, talk to us about what you'll be presenting at this year's conference.
Absolutely, Jeremy. Thank you. It's always a fun to be at the convention. Looking forward to it. So I get to do 2 amazing seminars this year. On Friday, I'm going to be doing a seminar on Dr. Flowers' induction. Now, this is very interesting because Dr. Flowers' induction is one of the very first inductions that we all as hypnotists learn. And then essentially we graduate onto and move on to other inductions, probably never to come back to Dr. Flowers' induction again. I've been using Dr. Flowers' induction primarily as one of my top 3, top 4 inductions for the last 2 years in my practice. And there's a lot of more insights that I've collected that I wanted to share with everyone at this convention. The whole idea here is there's a lot of relevancy to Dr. Flowers' induction in terms of what we do today and how we practice hypnosis today. It's contact-free, it's versatile, it's simple, it's teachable, it's reliable. For all of us who do a lot of demonstrations, it also allows the whole progression to be visually depicted to a broader audience in terms of how the trance develops step by step. And it's very easy to adapt for modern client-centered work. It also is a bridge induction, as I've been working with it, that kind of moves from an outer focus of focusing on a point on the wall, which is how we all learn it, to getting the clients to experience inner focus and moving them from just looking to imagining, and getting them from expectation to experience of what they want to do, and then getting them to practice the future conditioning, which is where the change and the transformation that they're looking for actually happens. A lot of applications today based on what I've seen. It's great for first-time clients. It's great for analytical clients. It's great for any regression work that you might be doing in your practice. It's also great for spiritual hypnosis kind of a work, and just a lot of insight. So I'm going to be doing this on Friday and looking forward to it.
Great.
And then on Sunday, I'm going to do another back to the basics, if you will, seminar, which is on ego strengthening. And ego strengthening is one of those things that, once again, all of us as hypnotists end up doing in every client session that we do. Now, unfortunately, the way the word got coined, I guess John Hartland would have renamed this to something different had he had an opportunity to do it. And this seminar is about moving away from the classic terminology without losing the core essence of what ego strengthening is, and getting us to practice ego strengthening from a paradigm of coaching, if you will, and getting the client to focus on activating their inner resources. So the way I look at it, what I've done over the last couple of years, is ego strengthening is not really about building a bigger ego, and we all know that. But the core reframe for our clients is that it's about being able to help them access a stronger inner core, a stronger inner foundation, and activate their own inner resources. There's a framework, a steady framework that I've been working with, that I use with clients very successfully. So I want to be kind of talking about that in this seminar on Sunday. I also want to share with participants and attendees the 5 modern doorways in which ego strengthening can be used. You could use it for inner resource activation. We all know our clients are innately resourceful, and they can actually activate and access their inner resources. But it's also something that we can help them tap into their self-worth, self-acceptance, self-esteem, leading them into the state of self-actualization. And then once we move away from a traditional ego strengthening terminology into inner resource activation, it allows us to get into personal resilience, develop an archetype, which I call as the inner nurturer, which is essentially the voice that's very nurturing, very caring, that protects and allows and empowers our clients to grow, and then get them into a state, once again, of future-facing confidence. So very excited about this seminar as well.
Oh, that's great. Ego strengthening, you're right. You pretty much, I know I do it in every session that I do with any type of client that I'm working with, whether it's an athlete in sports or to help somebody stop smoking. Ego strengthening is always something that I put in there. And such a great thing to have back to the basics. Whether you're starting out or you're a seasoned veteran, sometimes you forget some of those basics, and those are always great things to go over. So thank you, Kapil. We're looking forward to seeing you in August on that.
Absolutely.
All right, and to cap things off, our last presenter here to talk about their presentations, please welcome Heather McFall.
I am so excited for August. I used to tell everybody this will be my, I think, 22nd year. And I used to tell all my friends, the reason the NGH is so important to me is because they're the only people who get my jokes. When somebody says, you look great today, I instinctively touch their shoulder and go, that's right. And you guys are the only ones that laugh. Anyway, so I'm teaching Physiology Wins Over Emotion. It's a 1-hour class. And I think I'm teaching on Friday and Saturday, but they're 50-minute classes during the course of the convention. To what Claudia was saying, awesome about emotions, and emotions have a chemical response. That's why we can cause an ulcer from acid when we're stressed. It's why I can shoot you up with estrogen and you'll get weepy and cry at puppy chow commercials. I can shoot you up with testosterone and you'll be like angry and horny. And anybody who went through puberty can tell you exactly the experience, right? Where it feels like the emotion is taking over your body. So the fact that physiology wins over emotion, we're going to do, it's a fun, interactive moving around in class so that you can screen somebody before you accept them as a client to make sure that their behavior is really a behavior you can change, or if it's a behavior that you need to really refer out to somebody that is within that scope of practice. I practice in the villages, so all of my clients need handicap accessibility to Scot Giles. They have a lot of medical issues, so I am very, very careful to check that first. But this is a fun, easy way to test it. And it's a great way to teach technique to get them out of the emotion. And so just changing your body changes your emotion. Where you look with your eyes changes it. I love this stuff. I love this stuff. So it'll be fun, interactive, moving around, tossing things. And the other 50-minute seminar is how to manage know-it-alls. So doctors, wealthy people who are advanced social workers, sometimes hypnotists, like I was a psych major and I didn't finish my psychology degree because I discovered hypnosis. And while I was taking night classes to finish my psych degree, I was seeing 12 people a day and in a clinic. And I was noticing at the end of the day when I drove to school, what they were teaching was the opposite of what works. They were intensifying the pain of the problem and going, your time is up. We'll resolve this next week. And it takes a long time to change. And I was like, what are you saying? So I realized I couldn't even stick to it. Like I couldn't keep my mouth shut in class. So I didn't finish the degree. But then PhDs and psychiatrists and psychologists and social workers started coming to me. And I would get intimidated because I didn't have the golden ticket. And I started letting them run the show. And my mentor had to remind me, Heather, they came to you because they can't fix it. And you letting them have leverage on you is robbing them of your skill set. I was like, oh, hadn't thought of it that way. So the class is going to be for the students to get rid of any anchors they might have to, like, sibling or parent anchors that dominate their spirit. But the other thing is how to talk to a computer analysis, somebody who just has to be smart, how to read what they're doing in their head, and how to protect their self-esteem so that they can actually listen. Because some people are so busy trying to prove they already know everything you said that they're deleting the stuff they didn't know. So it's a way to talk to them with their language so that they can relax enough to take in the new information. So I'm really excited about both of these, and a sense of humor, a little bit of stand-up comedy is kind of my method for teaching. So we're going to have a blast, and I look forward to the convention every August, every year, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. So I am so excited to see you guys there. And I'm super excited that we're going to have new students and new CIs and some sort of special treat at the CI meeting that I don't know about. But now, now I'm really curious.
Oh, that's awesome, Heather. You have some great courses, how to work with know-it-alls. And don't we know a few of them in our lives, huh? That's going to be a wonderful course. So now that everybody's talked about what you'll be teaching at the conference, I am going to actually open it up to attendees. If attendees have any questions, people watching, if you have any questions for any of our presenters, you can put them in the chat bar. But I want to talk about everything else at the convention, not just what the presentations will be, but what excites you, what makes you want to come over and over to the conference. And it's open to any of our panelists here. If you want to just chime in, you can go ahead and let people know.
Well, one of the things that I always, joke about is like, I just come for the dancing and the hugs, right? But because as solopreneurs, a lot of us feel as though we're sort of isolated. So even if we have a small team that we work with, and some people work in larger practices, maybe there's a couple dozen people in their offices, but it's really such a great time to come together when I call like my hypno family, right? And so I just love that part of it. And so of course I love the dancing and the partying and all the fun things that happen in the hallways and and at in those outside rooms, but to be honest, I think that the best part is always those unexpected conversations. Like there's probably a dozen people that I could reference that like life-changing conversation that happened in the most unexpected moment at a conference, right? Like, there's pieces of Ron Esslinger that will stay with me my whole life because he mentioned a little something as we were passing over corn chowder or clam chowder in the hallway or something, right? And then so you think of all the people that have had influence or you gain influence from them because of just like a moment or a phrase or something along the way. And so it's really, I love all the party and the get together. Of course, that's so fun for me, but it's those stolen moments with these brilliant humans that are just so giving when they're there, right? Like, I'm just so grateful for that. It's humbling and really, I just really appreciate that.
Absolutely. John, you raise your hand there.
Yeah. So I remember when I taught my first class, I saw Ron in the hall and I said, "Hey, I'm teaching my class." And he went, "You'll never forget this day." So that was really cool. Yeah. But so we have the 3-day convention, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we have the pre and the post workshops. Those are really important also. So I remember when I became a certified hypnotist with Patricia McIsaac, and we had a 3 or 5 day training, and then we had the convention, the 3 days. And I remember I took a class per hour, the entire day, the entire week, the weekend, the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday. I was so burnt out, but it was exciting, to learn all of this information, to see all the presenters. And then a few years later, I took the certified instructor course with Richard Hart and Linda Williamson. And the first, with Patricia, there was 22 students in the class. And with Richard, there was 21. And so there was a bunch of us. And I remember at the end, when we got our certification for the instructors, someone in the class said, hey, why don't we go to a restaurant? And so Lois Herman ended up calling and making a reservation. And they were about to close for the night. But when they heard that there was a bunch of people, they kept it open for us. So we all went there, and they had these long trestle tables, just one after another. And everybody's sitting down. There was this lady in a costume, and she's talking all about the history of the building while everybody's eating. And she was talking about how the building was haunted. So after we finished eating, we took a tour of the restaurant. And that was my best convention. I really enjoyed that with the people and just really becoming friends with them. And so this was a great way to end and celebrate this event, the National Guild of Hypnotists Convention.
Awesome. That's a great story, John. And, to kind of put both together, what Sandra was talking about and John, Dr. Damon for years said the NGH convention's like a family reunion, where you get to see everybody once a year and the Hypno family. I love that, Sandra. And that's exactly what it is. We get to connect, get to network. Those little nuggets of information in the hallways or at the bar or in between sessions is so valuable, and meeting new people. We've had in the past couple years so many brand new attendees to the conference, and hopefully they come back because they've had such a wonderful time. But if you notice at the keynote, a lot of people are brand new first year attendees raise their hands. So we love to have newbies, but we always love to see our friends here. Scott?
Well, for me, one benefit of the convention, I think that for those of us who have been in the profession a long time, it's so comforting to see the new generation of hypnotists coming up through the ranks. People newly trained or just establishing their practice. And these people are better trained than we were when we were at that step, because there have been so much effort put into improving the curriculum, raising the quality of the instructors. The training today, I think, is light years ahead of where it was when I was a beginner. And I'm 75. I'm closer to the end of my career than to its beginning. But it's so comforting to realize that this profession's going to be here in 100 years. And it's going to be here in 100 years because of the work that was done to improve the training and the quality of the new hypnotists. Yeah. And they're gonna shine. They're going to accomplish things that old farts like me weren't able to. They're going to exceed us, and we want that. So that's, for me, the thing that I find most impressive about the convention.
Absolutely. And maybe Don Mottin will chime in on this as well. But, being young in the profession and seeing all these very well-known presenters out there, it can be nervous, but everybody is pretty welcoming in open arms. And Don, I remember a story about you meeting Orman McGill at one of our conventions. If you want to chime in about that, that would be cool.
Sure. In fact, it was actually at an Eagle convention in California. I've been in practice maybe a year. And so I sat on this guy's class. I saw him in the hallway. I said, I got a question. I don't talk to people one-on-one. And I'm thinking, Dorothy Wizard of Oz, I clicked my heels together. This is awful. And he was a legend in his own mind. He really wasn't that important. And then here comes Orman McGill, and I'm thinking, oh my God, he really is a big shot. He'll probably kick me. I said, what do I have to lose? Orman, you don't know me. My name's Don Mottin. Most of all your books. Well, young man, you know what? I said, what's that, sir? Why don't we sit down and have a soda together? Wouldn't that be delightful? And and so, again, the guy who has been around over and over and over, it was kind of neat. A couple years ago, one of my students at the convention, and he's glassy-eyed. I said, you took too many classes, didn't you? I told him, it's all wonderful. It's like Disney. You can't go 24 hours. So get this, walk around the parking lot, get out. But I love the new people because you can just see they're hungry. And NGH does a really good job of providing it for the newbies as well as ones been around.
Awesome. Awesome. And on that too, we will be doing the virtual replay for the conference as well. All attendees and presenters will have a minimum 30-day replay of every single workshop and seminar being offered. So it is a full, all-inclusive conference. You don't have to miss anything. You know, in the past, you could only go to one session per hour, and there's 10 things going on per hour. So now you have access to everything. You can go to those you really want to go to in person and then watch the replay of the others when you get home and relax. Heather?
If you are new, look for one of these. And anybody who's wearing this can help you find the class that is most important to you. So if you find a certified instructor wearing this and you don't know what you should do, but you have a favorite thing or a thing you came for, they will direct you to the speaker or the presenter that's going to be best matching up with your needs and desires.
Good point.
Absolutely. Yes, Claudia. Did you want to?
Well, I was just agreeing with Heather, of course, but what I love is actually the learning. And it is tremendous. It's so valuable. It's those golden nuggets that I have taken away from all the conferences that I've been to that I've actually pulled into so much of my work. And I go, oh, I like that idea. I'm going to use that one. And it's, and you never, it's so unexpected. And it's just, there is still so much to keep on learning. Nobody ever knows it all. So yes, it's exciting. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody.
Awesome. And in the comments, Christian asks if usually there's events in the bookstore where authors can do a signing on their books and special booths. Will there be things like that this year? And yes, we will have a table at the exhibit room area, the bookstore. We will have a special table for authors who have books that came out that can do book signings. As we get closer to the convention, we'll have more information on which authors will be available during different time sessions there. The bar conversations, goodness, golden moments, absolutely. The lineup of the courses you will find on the NGH website. We do have the convention, all the schedule online right now. And the convention catalog was just sent out to the printer last week. So that is being printed and being ready to be shipped out to our members. Love the Hypno family. Absolutely, we do too. And Alicia says the conference sounds like it'll be incredible. I'll do my best to attend. Well, we look forward and welcome you if you can make it. That'd be awesome. And David has put down our convention link in the comment section. And in that link, you'll find the full Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and our pre and post courses that will be happening. The convention in a whole, when we arrive there, we will be doing a welcome party on Thursday evening, kind of Thursday as people are kind of getting in, and after the pre courses end, we'll have a little get together where the hors d'oeuvres in the main lobby area of the conference. And that would be a great place to get to know each other, introduce yourselves. Like Heather said, if you see somebody with a presenter badge, those would be people to go to ask, their suggestions for courses to take. And it is a wonderful experience. And then on Friday evening, we'll have our Friday night stage show. This year will be Dan Candell doing his comedy Hypnosis, which would be a wonderful time. On Saturday evening, we have our Saturday night banquet extravaganza. And with that, we have our awards banquet where we honor those in our profession. And we also have a formal dinner and a lot of fun things that at the banquet where, we have some magicians and balloon artists and caricature artists and a photo booth, a red carpet. So that's always a good time to come have a few cocktails and enjoy the evening with your friends. And then on Sunday, what I do need to mention, we will have the NGH board certification exam. Those who have been in the profession will know the board certification is that next level up. Being board certified is another feather in the cap, and everything is based on the NGH curriculum. If you were trained by an NGH certified instructor, then you will know most of the things there to become board certified, and that is only trained twice, and it's live in person. We do it once at the Solid Gold Weekend, which we usually do in Las Vegas, and once at the annual convention in August. So anybody else have anything they want to add this evening before we log off?
Well, can I just say about the board certification that I was very intimidated about the idea when I was a newer practitioner, and it wasn't until I was doing the train the trainer that year with Richard Hart, and he told me, "Oh, and by the way, you're studying for the board exam." And I said, I don't think I can." He said, "Yeah, you are, and you have an interview with Crenshaw too." And I was like, "No, but I just don't think." And so, if you're looking for someone to support you, anyone on this panel, if you reach out to us, I'm sure that we would all be happy to support you in doing that, because it took a little nudge for me. I was like, I don't know, and once I did it, it was so easy. I mean, it's so natural for those of you that know your practice and you know it well, and it is really just a sweet little addition to your training. And so I do recommend for people to consider that. And if you're looking for a little support in that, please reach out to someone on the panel that would support you, and knowing that would be in service of you. And don't forget parties and dancing and parties.
Absolutely. Parties, dancing and parties with a little education mixed in there. That's the NGH convention. We're all looking forward to seeing you, all of our attendees and members worldwide. Hope to see you in August. It'll be a wonderful time. Thank you all for joining me this evening.
Thank you all. Good to see all of you.
And we'll see you folks soon.
Bye. Cheerio. Thank you.
Bye now.
With my peers and learning new things that have appeared, you can't know everything, so it's a great melting pot and sharing of ideas and learning new techniques, and you make friends here too.
Still go to classes and still learn a lot. I love going to classes.
I look forward to meeting old friends, making new friends, learning things, and exploring new areas of hypnosis. It's just a wonderful time and huge sharing of very positive energy.
And also all the materials that are available, because I can't retain it all. So it's wonderful to have DVDs, and it's wonderful to have programs and books and such. So there is just so much that I'm looking for every time I come.
Every room has some new experience or some new technique. You're walking among legends in the hypnosis profession. You get to meet them, people who built the profession, all that they are.
One of the things I like best is just the positive attitude over and over and over. I think hypnotists, just by the kind of person who's attracted to the profession, we're optimists by nature. So you come here and you just get recharged for the next year.